guys, it's Christine from hollishandscreate. Hope everyone is well. Welcome back to my channel. It's been a couple of months. This is a channel primarily about cross stitch. Oops, and I have a visitor already. Okay, that was Sadie. Ready to say hello as well. If you're returning, thank you so much for coming back and hanging in with my 2-month hiatus. And if you are new to my channel, you've stumbled across, I hope that you'll, hang with me for just a little bit and, find something that inspires you. So let's begin. So, as you know, I've been away for a couple of months. I had a cancer removal surgery from my nose. And as you can see, it's probably 90% healed at this point. There's a lot of makeup on right now. It went well. I only had an incision from right here between my eyes down to the tip of my nose, and it made a little jag. I had like a Harry Potter style scar, which is still pink. It hasn't, begun to turn, white yet. But what's down here on the nose is actually just not even, colored at all. It's just like a general redness. So, but they got it all first shot. So I was very happy about that. There's some, some tenderness. The skin is pulled extremely tight across the bridge of my nose. So that's very strange to get used to. But, it could have been so much worse. I could have had something from here all the way down. So I'm very grateful. Thank you so much to quite a few of you who sent me, very nice messages and checking up on me to, see if I was healing well and everything. So I will insert a picture. The picture I'll put in is about, I want to say maybe like 17, 20 days post-op. So the pictures right after were pretty bad. I couldn't even see out of one eye, and I definitely looked like a battered person. So, well, I'm not going to insert any of those, but I'll insert a picture that's about 2.5 weeks after the surgery. So. What else has been going on? Well, of course, I had that surgery on the 17th, and then we had Christmas. My daughter, Savannah, flew in from Seattle. My son, Adam, drove down. Of course, Britt, just had the baby in November, so they weren't going to be flying with the baby, but they definitely aren't flying because of COVID anyway, coming from Italy. So, and of course, we're still not able to get over there just yet either. So, hoping to maybe get to go over maybe in May or June. So that's kind of our hope. I'm very excited to see little Alaska. She just turned 3 months old, and she's laughing now and smiling and gurgling, and it's just so sweet. So I'm very thankful that we have video capabilities because otherwise it would just be so terribly sad. So our next big thing, once we got through Christmas, was on January 6th. My husband received a job change. And we're used to being transferred. I'd say starting in 2012, we went from Philadelphia to Minneapolis, and then Minneapolis to Kansas City, and then Kansas City to Dallas. Now he is going back to the East Coast, and will be working right in just south of Boston, like right on the Rhode Island and Massachusetts state line. So, but because we're so close to what we kind of want to do as far as an early retirement, I'm going to go to Kansas City because that's where we intend to retire. And so after much praying and thought about this, we decided that he would go on out, and he's out there now, and he's rented an apartment, and he's gonna work out there, and we're just gonna each commute back and forth, me go out there some, him come to Kansas City. And while this is a relocation through his job and the move is paid for and that kind of thing, I'm moving the whole household back to Kansas City. So we flew up there and did a whirlwind house hunting trip. We're very fortunate because right now the market is just crazy. There's very few houses on the market, and when there's a good one that comes up, you know, people descend on it like white on rice. So we got very lucky. We got in, we saw a house, we made an offer along with several other people, and we were just very lucky that the owner chose our offer, and so we were able to walk away with a house purchase that weekend. So that was a blessing. Anyway, so that's a big move for us, but for me, kind of like going back home. Since I'm originally from Kansas City, I'm happy to be going back. So that's been craziness. With all of this going on, then of course that meant I had to sell this house. So as you can see, a lot of things have been cleared out, because when you sell a house nowadays, they don't want you to have much of any decor out at all. Everything wiped clean, countertops cleared, I mean, everything. So we've done a tremendous amount of pre-packing, decor taken down, things like that. And so my shelf that's normally here that has all my my kitchen collectibles, that, you know, that's obviously gone. Most of the decor here, excuse me, is all gone. My wall that I have of my antique kitchen things, that's all packed up and gone. I was only able to leave one or two things out. But again, very blessed. As everyone knows, Texas has been slammed this last week and a half with just a horrible Arctic cold storm that Texas is not prepared for. We were getting ready. We had pictures done on the Wednesday before the snowstorm, and our realtor was like, I'm a little concerned about the weather, but we thought, all right, the house is gonna go live on the market on Friday. The worst of it's not supposed to hit till Sunday evening. We'll see how this goes. And so it did go live on about 11:30 on Friday morning, and by 1 o'clock we had showings starting to book, and we had 5 showings then from 1 until 5 on Friday, and then Saturday, and then the calls started coming in for Saturday. And we had 13 showings on Saturday and ended up with 5 or 6 offers. So by Saturday evening, we stopped. We canceled any of the rest of the showings, and we revisited with our realtor. We went through the offers, and Sunday morning we verbally accepted a contract and had that done. So grateful that we did that, because then Sunday, you know, all hell broke loose weather-wise. Still have a little bit of concern about the pool. Today's Tuesday. So what, 7 days after we lost power Sunday night into Monday morning. My husband had already set his alarm to be up every couple of hours to go out to check the pool, because the freeze protection comes on and basically it takes water from the bottom of the pool, runs it up through the waterfall and slide and the pump, and then just keeps circulating so that you've got water moving through those pipes so it doesn't burst everything. And then, but we had the top of the surface of the pool was beginning to freeze pretty solid. And so he was trying to break that up so that you could keep that water moving. And he was out there at like 2 o'clock. And all of a sudden, he said everything just stopped. And he was like, oh, great. Well, we knew that we were supposed to potentially be hit with rolling outages. And they were describing those as, you know, you might lose power for like 45 minutes, back on for, you know, hour and a half, whatever. So he kind of was like, all right, he came in, woke me up, said, text you know, our neighbors, let them know if they are not already awake, power's out, because we all have pools. And so I did, and we waited about 45 minutes, nothing's coming back on. And he's like, you know what, I'm going out to see if I can't drain everything. So he started pulling plugs from the filters and the drain pump and all that kind of stuff, because you need to get that water out of there. It's just like having your hose, you know, plugged up. You know, at the winter time, you unhook your hoses and get the water out of the hose and everything from your outdoor spigots and whatever, because you don't want those pipes to contract and then freeze and then burst when the water comes back on. So he did his best. There was one plug that was frozen, he couldn't get out, but he did his best to get everything out. And then we literally just watched the whole wall froze, the slide, everything just frozen. And our power ended up staying off for about 51 hours. Tuesday night, we wrote it out because we had the house under contract, and I was like, that's just all we need, are, you know, frozen pipes that burst, and we got a mess. So we were flushing toilets every couple hours. We had water dripping from every faucet in the shower. Unfortunately, with the exception of my kitchen sink, which is in the middle of the kitchen, kind of like on a bar type thing, everything else is an outside wall. All my bathrooms, everything are literally on outside walls, and we have one upstairs. And so we had everything, you know, dripping, and we were just constantly checking, and we were bundled in 2 layers of clothing and hats and gloves, slept that way with sleeping bags over the top of quilts and blankets, and the cats were like literally snugged in the covers with us, just trying to stay warm. And it got down to about 38, 39 degrees in the house. It was pretty stinking cold. That is one thing we have not gone through. We've been married 35 years next month, and this has been a first. And all the houses and the moving and the thing that we've done, this has been a different kind of experience. But the power came back on finally Wednesday morning, around, maybe it's between 4:30 and 5. You never know what lights you had on. We tried to have everything already unplugged because they were asking everybody to conserve energy. But we did have some lights that popped on all of a sudden, and it was like, hallelujah, the heat is running. And our power never went back off after that. We didn't know if that was the beginning of true rolling outages or not, because they kept saying, you know, the power could still go back off. But it stayed on, and it took about 8 hours to get the house back up to, you know, 68, so, you know, 30 degrees. And that was Wednesday morning. It's now Tuesday, and this morning I woke up and the last of the ice chunks in the pool and spa were finally melted. So, you know, 6 days to get that thing to melt. And yesterday our temp was 74. Today we're supposed to be going up to 80. So it's just crazy Texas weather. Still don't know yet if the pool is functional. You know, we're singing praises and blessings. Everything in the house has been fine, and the water spigots on the outside of the house, a couple of them we had to apply some heat, but they actually came back on, and everything worked really well. We had some chunks of ice kind of spit out, but no pipes burst. We do think we have one valve that has an issue, but if that is all we have with the pool, we'll be thrilled. Our pool guys are coming sometime in the next 2 days, and they will start everything back up slowly to see how it's going to start. So we're not 100% out of the woods, but we're pretty close, and we're very grateful. Again, thank you so much for messages. I had people who were sending me messages through Instagram and everything, say, I hope that you know you're doing okay and you don't have too much damage. And we're very grateful, especially, you know, when we had the house under contract, and yesterday they came to do the inspection, and as far as I know, everything, you know, has gone okay. So I'm gonna get a little drink. Got my I Belong to the Cross Stitch Nation mug or cup, teacup, coffee cup from Heartstring Samplery. So anyway, it's just been nuts. In that time, I haven't done a huge amount of stitching. Just with everything that was going on, I couldn't seem to concentrate. But what I did do was I did a lot of reading, and I think I ended up reading 7 books. I'm on Goodreads. I'm friends with a few of you. And if you guys, you know, want to jump, if you're a reader, you want to jump onto Goodreads, it's kind of a neat little app to use, and you can track all of your reading. And then you can share, you know, reviews, and it's pretty handy. I like it. So I had set my goal for 36 books this year. And, you know, by, I guess by like first or second week of February, I've already read 7. Reading kept my mind off of everything that was happening and going on, and the decisions to be made, and that kind of thing. Whereas with stitching, you know, you're still thinking, but you know, I just needed to go somewhere else, and so the reading has been great. But if you're on there, you know, I'd love to connect with you onto Goodreads. You know, just Christine Hollis, you know, on there, and it's, you know, it's really fun. And I've got 2 books. I keep 2 books going: an audio book and then an actual in-hand reading book. And I'm about to finish another one that I probably will finish tonight or tomorrow for my 8th book. So anyway, enjoying that. So I don't have a tremendous amount, believe it or not, for being away for 2 months to show you, but I do have a few things, so let's talk cross stitch, right? Let's see, my big thing that I got back, and I did post a picture of this on Instagram, from Total Framing. I got back a new constellation. You see that frame? Yeah, there's a good, actually with the light on the frame, you can kind of see it's a rough, primitive style frame. And I absolutely love it. Total Framing did this with museum glass. And I had asked Terry to, because I'm going to be stitching the Heritage Sampler this year, and then there's one other that I think Paulette has coming out this spring that'll be like a 3rd in this same series. I'm going to stitch that as well. So I did ask her to please, let's pick a frame that I want them to match. I'd like to have all 3 on the wall, and if Paulette keeps, you know, putting these out, I'll keep stitching them. But so we chose this frame with, you know, with that in mind, so that I could have matching, and I'm so thrilled with it. I just absolutely loved it. So again, thank you, you know, Total Framing, for doing such a great job. My Christmas Day start was Winter Rose Manor. I know everybody's been seeing this a lot, and seeing it being stitched. Actually was stitching on this late last night, so I still have a needle in. But there is where I am. Now I'm stitching this on 36 count Winter White by Seraphim Fabrics. And I did make a couple of changes. If you'll notice here, see that medallion actually has like a little pot with some flowers in it. Well, you've got 1, 2, 3 other pots with flowers in it. And then Brenda also had put her G down here where her B and her A were up here. And I'm sure she did that because she didn't want her initials to spell bag in the middle of it. But I kind of thought, you know, I'm going to do something a little different. And I put my H in the middle of that medallion. So I made mine a little different. Now, there's some snowflakes and things that you're supposed to add. So I probably will just add maybe a couple of extra snowflakes or something down in here to kind of fill that. So I just basically have the basket to finish. I've kind of started the bottom of it. And then I have to fill in these diamonds with some roasted marshmallow. And then I just have to finish going across here with some more of the I'm using toasted marshmallow by Classic Colorworks for that bottom. You can kind of see the white there across the bottom. So, once I kind of got started stitching again, I had this as my, like I said, my Christmas Day start, and I just didn't want to stop, and I didn't want to be jumping around. I just felt like I had enough things going that I just needed to focus on something. And so that's what I have been focusing on. That's what most of my stitching has been for the last, 6 weeks really. But I did have another late December start that I will show you. I haven't picked it up at all since I guess maybe around the 3rd or 4th of January, but it was just a quickie. Burr It's Cold Outside by Brenda Gervais with my needle and thread. And here's my progress. So it's a quick stitch. I thoroughly enjoyed doing that skirt. I really like doing that skirt. So anyway, so that I did do that one, but I probably won't do much with that one, for a while. I don't know, let me see, I have to look. I had made my 2021 plans list. Oh, and I do have it on my 2021 whips. So one of the months I'll, work it back in to try to have it as a finish for in 2021. So I will work on that. Oh, and you know what? I forgot something, so I'm gonna be right back. Okay, I'm back. I have a little giveaway for you guys a little later, and I forgot the pattern. So, what did I do next? Next, I had my January 1st start already planned, which was Let Freedom Ring. Oh, I should have taken this out. Though I'm sure everybody has seen this one, but there it is, a little closer. Let Freedom Ring. Now I've had this purchased and kitted for, I don't know, at least 3 years. I think I purchased it pretty quickly after it came out because my husband's from Philadelphia and we lived in the Philadelphia area for 13, 14 years. And I've kind of always wanted to stitch this for him, for his office. So finally, when Pam from Just Keep Stitching, Pam Schaffner, said she was going to have that be her New Year's Day start, I had messaged her, and anyway, we ended up doing a SAL. Not just she and I, but for anybody joining in. And it's hashtag Stitch for Freedom SAL if you're interested in joining in. And so I started that on January 1st. It has a lot of threads. So I went to Hobby Lobby and bought this little handy dandy box, and it works great because you can move the little inside things. And because this particular pattern calls for some overdyes as well as some DMC, it worked great. I put my DMC on the sides and kept the little dividers in, and then took them out for in here and put my overdyes. So I had that all done, and then on January 1st, this was my start. So I'm stitching it on Vintage Buttercream by Lakeside, and really like the way it's gotten started. I haven't picked it up since. That was just my, my January 1st New Year's Day start. And that's it. So that is it for my stitching. Seems like if I've been away for 2 months, I should have done a lot more, right? But I did read 7 books. So let's see, I've got some plans that I'm gonna go over those real quick. Let's see. So my first plan is to finish Winter Rose Manor, and I hope to have that one finished probably, you know, I'd say I need tonight and tomorrow to finish it. So I'm hoping to have it finished in the next 2 days. Then I'm gonna use the next, what does that leave me? Let's see, today's 23rd, so 23rd, 24th, so that leaves me like 3 days of February left. And so what I'm gonna do is I went to my 2021 WIP list and looked at something that was fairly small that I could pull out, and that is this little Redwork Pinkeep by Stacy Nash. And so I have it pulled out in my in my cross stitch basket next to my chair. And here's where I was when I stopped. So that's the bottom 2 lines. So I'm through Q. So, you know, these bottom 2 lines here are done. So I'll start here and work my way up. So anyway, so I'm gonna work on that and until March 1st. And I will probably also have it be an alternating stitch throughout March as well. But anyway, so that one, that's what I'm gonna do there. And then I mentioned just a little bit ago that my husband, Chris, and I will be married 35 years in March. Our anniversary is on the 28th. And I've never stitched anything that, you know, commemorates that at all. Back in the day, in the 80s, there were a lot of, you know, anniversary kinds of things. And I don't know, I just at that time, I just never really wanted to stitch one, or maybe I just didn't really like one well enough. I don't know, but I just never did do it. So I had gone through my stash last year when I was making my 2021 plans, and I thought, you know, 35 years, it feels like a milestone. So I pulled out Where My Heart Blooms from Blackbird Designs. This is an old Loose Feathers that I've had, let's see, oh, it came out in 08. So I've had it a long time. And I pulled out some American, 36 count American chestnut. And I should have had my threads. I don't have my threads put on a ring yet. I just have them in my bag. But kind of show you, there's not a lot of threads to this particular design. So, well, I don't know if you can see that or not. Not really. But anyway, so it's American chestnut. I really love this linen. It's, I don't know, it just really is a nice linen. So anyway, so that's what I have picked out. That's what I'm gonna be doing for my anniversary. It's not a huge, it's only 146 by 139. So it's gonna end up being about an 8 by 8. So it should be easy to frame, and that's just gonna be something that hangs on our wall all the time. The title of it is Where My Heart Blooms, but on the inside it actually says Home is Where My Heart Blooms. And then I think like you can put, like it has 2008, you know, right here. What I probably will do is put in 1986. Or maybe I'll even put, you know, 86. Well, no, I'll probably just put 1986 because you don't want to really put an end date. So anyway, so that's my plan for March. That was my part of my 12 new starts for 2021. And if I finish the little Redwork Pinkeep, I'm promising myself that I won't start anything unless that is finished. There was a pattern that came out from Tanya at Scarlett House that when I saw it, I ordered it in for the shop, and when I saw it, I loved it. And I don't know, there's just something about it. It's a simple, small, little sampler, but it's little deeds sampler. And the colors just appeal to me. The verse, little deeds of kindness, little words of love, make our earth and Eden like the heaven above. It just, I don't know, it just something that really speaks to me about this. So I'm gonna be stitching probably like a little mad woman to try to finish the little Redwork Pinkeep so that I can start this, because it's not part of my 2021 new starts plan. But if I finish Winter Rose Manor and I finish Little Redwork Pinkeep, I feel like I deserve a new start. What do you think? Yeah? I think you'll agree with me. And because I think you'll agree with me, I'm actually going to give away one of these patterns, Little Deed Sampler. So if you agree with me, I'd love to hear why you agree with me. And if you will make sure in your comment that you use the word deeds, that is what I will search by. Make sure I write that down. And when I'm back in a couple of weeks, I will give one of these away, and maybe you can join me stitching this one. So I'd love that. That would be good. So as far as my, my stitching and that kind of thing, that's all I have to really show you. I am going to kind of switch over and give you just a little bit of shop news. So if you're good for this video, I'm so glad that you joined me. If you'd like to hang in and listen just a few minutes about, what's coming up with the shop. Some of it has to do with the fact, of course, that I'm moving location. Then that'd be great. I'd love to have you hang just a few more minutes with me. So what's coming up? Needlework Expo, March 6th through the 8th. I will be participating. As everyone knows, Nashville, Needlework Market ended up canceled altogether for 2021. And we don't have dates for 2022 yet, but I'm sure that they will be getting those. So Noteworthy Needle decided to put together a virtual online market. And this is going to be just really interesting. It's wholesale only, so our customers can't shop the show because you have to have a ticket to get into the virtual booths. But the designers who are participating are doing their best to put out sneak peeks, and Instagram especially, you'll see. And just get that information so that people can kind of see, and then you can contact your local needlework store. I typically in the past, as those things have come up, you can set up pre-orders and people can purchase those and have them ready, so that when you go to the show, it's cash and carry. You walk out with what you purchased. You come back home and you can begin mailing immediately. It's going to be a little different this year because obviously we're not leaving with anything in hand. We're going to have to wait for then those designers to turn around and mail all of those orders out. So I decided, because I just don't know how long all that process is going to take, and especially with the way that the mail service has been, I'm only going to I'm going to compile customer lists. And I do have some people who have already messaged and said, start a list for me, which I think is great. When we finish the show, I will then put up the listings of what I have purchased as I receive it. I will give each customer who has a pre-order list compiled the opportunity to add to that order with everything that they're seeing as I'm receiving it, and I can mail it all at once. But shipping will be on me. So for domestic only, not international, unfortunately, but I'm not really shipping much international right now, some to Canada. International has just been a nightmare. I had a couple things going, you know, to France and the UK that were literally took almost 4 months. And it's just not great right now, so I'm still not shipping internationally. But anyway, so if you're interested, you know, message me. You can email me or message me through Instagram or message me through the shop and say, hey, you know, could you start me a list? But that's kind of how I'm going to run mine, rather than, you know, trying to throw up pre-orders and then not be able to know exactly when those items are going to be to me, and then, you know, repackaged and back out. I'll wait until it's in hand. And then, so if you see my listings, you're going to know that I actually have those charts in hand. So before when you order to pay. One other thing, be sure to check the shop if you are loving what you're seeing with the Fox and Rabbit linens. I've now had, I think, 3 different orders coming from Australia, from Fox and Rabbit. Started out with just a couple of the sampler kind of looking linens, and they sold out really fast. And so then I was able to get in 2 other colors, fossil and prehistoric, which are kind of grays and charcoal looking type fabrics, and those sold really well. So this last order, I was able to add in another, I think, 3 or 4 colors: baked clay, elephant run, eucalyptus, and I would say there's one other name. It's escaping me at the moment. But that whole order was only 36 count because they were still waiting on their 40 count and 32 count fabrics from Zweigart. I did get a message from Brendan. They had received all their 40 count. He's been posting on his Instagram, showing him their production line working on getting the 40 count done. So I should have my order. I think he messaged me probably within about 10 days or so. And then they still have not heard when the 32 count is going to be arriving from Zweigart, but they're thinking it's going to be sometime middle of March. And then he's got some new colors that he's now added. So that's bringing, you know, their offerings up to, I want to say, about 15 colors now. But he's got a couple or several new colors that are coming out at Needlework Expo. So, you know, check the shop. And I'm trying to keep, you know, his linens stocked as best as possible. Like I said, it does come from Australia. And he does, you know, ship it fairly quickly. Comes DHL, so it's about 3 to 5 days. It depends. I did have one box get hung up in customs in Cincinnati for a couple of days. But anyway, it's all Zweigart base. Love it. It's beautiful colors. Just really nice fabric. So check that out if you're really interested in that. And then for right now, I'm going to, because of the move, I'm going to be staying open until about March 20th or so. We have movers who are going to come in and do the packing and loading and drive everything. But my shop inventory and some other, you know, personal items that we don't want to go with the movers, that is actually going to go with us. We rented a small U-Haul and our reserved one, and we're going to load all of that so that I don't have to miss much time at all. So I should be back open, you know, within a few days, because we'll drive right up, and so I'll stay open probably through the 20th. That gives me a couple days to get those existing orders out the door, and then I'll have to be closed while we, you know, pack it all up real quick and then drive up to Kansas City, and then we get in to our house on the 25th. And, you know, I should be able to, hopefully with no hiccups. You never know about internet. That's my only concern, is I've got appointments set up on the 26th for them to get out to get me set back up so that I'm not missing much time. But anyway, just want to give everybody a heads up about that. I missed y'all. Hope everybody is doing really well. Again, thank you so much for, you know, your sweet comments, checking on me after my surgery. Again, checking on when we were like half frozen popsicles last week. And, you know, it's a great community. I really appreciate it. Be sure to comment if you're, you know, wanting to participate in this little deeds sampler giveaway. And just make sure that you follow the rules, that you're at least 18. Please don't use the word freebie or giveaway in your comment. Use the word deeds, D-E-E-D-S, because that's what I'll search by. Anyway, I hope everybody does really some great stitching this next couple of weeks. I hope you're thawing out if it's cold where you are. We are thawing out, praise the Lord. And take care. All right, bye-bye.